Live right here on this Monday on the early line. You're lucky because the two premier NBA handicappers on this Spiz Grizz network are with you for a triple header of action tonight in the NBA postseason. We've got 3 games. 2 of the 3 could be a series clinching victory for a team in their opening round playoff set. The other one could be a statement made by Boston that would really put this series away. We start there. We go in chronological order. It is game number 4 tonight in South Beach between Miami and Boston. The Celtics, a double-digit favorite once again. 3 of the 4 games now, DRS, between Boston and Miami. The Celtics have been a double-digit favorite. The only game they were not, they closed as a 9.5 point favorite for game number 3 on Friday night. They won by 20. They easily covered. Boston is either won by 20 or they have lost outright. So what do you think is the more likely scenario tonight?
Yeah, it's more likely, and again, just from a handicapping perspective, we know the Boston Celtics are a much, much better team. That's why they're favored by 10.5 points. They're not even at home. They're on the road in a closeout game against Miami, who you figure you'd get their best punch, and they're still double-digit favorites. Let you know that everything should be going in the Boston Celtics direction tonight. And it went in game number 3. That was one of those important games where we didn't know how it would go technically, right? Because you saw game number 2. Miami shocked the world.
Yeah.
So you knew that the Boston Celtics would be on their game for game number 3. But it was still a road game. And also the Miami Heat, after winning game number 2, like, you know what? Maybe we can just about do this. Maybe we can extend this series to 7 games and Jimmy Butler might appear in game number 7 to come save us. But having said that, it's now game number 4. Reality is set in here. You're taking a look at the Miami Heat just not being a great overall team. And we understand that. So if you're going to bet this from a betting perspective, as I pointed out, if you think the Miami Heat can win this basketball game, does anybody think the Miami Heat down 5 points at the break are going to make a comeback in this game? And it's only 5 points. I don't think so. But you know what gives life to the Miami Heat? Up 5 points at the break here, saying, you know what? I think we could steal this game, and I think we could send it back to Boston. We understand all this stuff all the way through. But for my money here, I'm not betting the Miami Heat in any way, shape, or form. It's probably going to be the form of the Boston Celtics. More likely for me, the Celtics to win and cover in this game than the Celtics just to win by a couple points. I think they really put their foot down here in the second half and blast the Miami Heat.
So listen, as we have said, game number 2 in Boston last week was an absolute stunner. Miami made a playoff franchise record 23 made threes. In game number 3 on Saturday back in South Beach, they were 9 of 28, but Tyler Hero was hoisting. He was 3 of 9 from deep. If you think Miami keeps this game within margin, look at some 3-point props. Nikola Jovic, who hit 3 on Saturday, over 1.5. Caleb Martin, over 1.5 at plus money. Tyler Hero to go over 3.5 is at plus money as well. Haywood Highsmith, he's going to be taking him off the bench. He took 2, missed both of them on Saturday night. But I think it's pretty clear to see how this series goes. Miami, if they lose tonight, which is the expectation, of course, as a double-digit dog. In the 2 losses, the games have stayed under. Miami has not got to 95 points. 96.5 is the team total for the Heat. In the game they won, they scored 111, of course, over Boston. That's the only over so far in this 3-game set. If the Celtics win tonight, they go back to TD Garden. They're going to be booked as a 14-plus point favorite in game number 5. It's all but over. Again, hefty favorite tonight. Could Miami use some of the Heat culture to keep the game within double digits? Maybe, but I think Boston cruises to a victory. Next game up, the second of the 3. It's a series clinching potential tonight in New Orleans. Maybe a series sweep.
And it could be a series sweep tonight, and that's probably what we're anticipating. Point here, right? 5:59, 5:60 on the rotation. This game's going to tip off at 8:30 p.m. tonight. If we're looking from a public outcry, it's a heavy favorite here and a heavy public betting pattern here shaping up on OKC, and rightfully so. What have we shown in the first 3 games here between OKC and New Orleans that would give us the notion that maybe the Pelicans can extend the series? Now, take a look here also. FanDuel Sportsbook opens up at a minus 4.5 point favorite. That's now shifted to 5, or even some outlets out here showing as high as 5.5 this morning in this ball game. If you're looking from a series perspective for me, if we're looking at 3 games tonight, right? And again, Miami Heat, Boston Celtics. If the Boston Celtics win tonight, it's de facto probably game 5 where it's going to end in Boston. But for me, I'm saying, all right, maybe the Heat can hang around. I don't think they can. But Also, looking at the Lakers-Nuggets game, if I'm just factoring on the Thunder and the Pelicans here, Ben, I'm saying to myself, this is the game I'd be more surprised, even though the spread is only 4.5, that the Pelicans would actually be able to win this game. I'm taking a look at this by saying to myself, OKC has been better all the way through. What do you gain if you're the Pelicans? Hey, show up on our home court one time just to go back to OKC and get waxed? If I'm looking for an underdog with the least amount of chances to win of these 3 games tonight, for me, it's actually the Pelicans. I think the Thunder close it out tonight and handle their business, and possibly by double digits.
I mean, listen, New Orleans has not been good in this series whatsoever. Even in game number 1, when they kept it close, and OKC, of course, rallied in the fourth quarter, 94-92. New Orleans scored 92 points. They then scored 92 in game number 2. They lost that game by more than 32 points, and they only scored 85 on Saturday, that game back at home. I like OKC's team over 105 and a hook. But if you think Oklahoma City wins this game rather handily, it's either the 5-point spread, it's OKC's team total. I might go double down on New Orleans team total under 100.5 because they haven't scored more than 92 so far in this series. And frankly, nothing that we have seen out of the Pelicans at this moment, Donnie, has us believing they're even going to keep this close. It's not even the Lakers and the Nuggets, who we'll get to in a moment, where at least when LA down 3-0 had a double-digit lead in all 3 games and now make that a double-digit lead in all 4 of this series. New Orleans has looked very lackluster in this series. I don't expect that to change on a dime tonight in game number 4. And what a statement that would be quickly here for both OKC and Minnesota, the 2 young up-and-coming teams all year long in the Western Conference. OKC, the 1 seed, Minnesota closed as the 3 seed, to pull off an opening round sweep in this postseason. It would certainly change the dynamic of where things maybe stack up out west. The Nuggets, the odds-on favorites, and rightfully so, but OKC and Minnesota should not be overlooked. We'll talk about Denver back at home in game number 5 tonight inside the Mile High City, looking for the series clinching victory over LA. And a best bet before we go. Up next, one final game in the 3 that we have tonight in the NBA playoff slate. A triple header on this Monday to preview for you. It is game number 5 in Denver. The Nuggets looking to close out the Lakers after LA won its first game of the series in game number 4 on Saturday, despite a 33-point, 14-rebound, 14-assist performance out of Nikola Jokic. Denver returns home. They're a 7-point favorite in this close-out spot tonight at altitude. Total at 217. Is this opening round series between Denver and Los Angeles coming to a close tonight?
It is going to come to a close tonight, but I don't mind actually taking the Lakers if you're going to get that 7 points, because I do think they have a pretty good effort. It's one of the, and
sure,
the legacy game concept again, and I keep saying this, LeBron doesn't have any legacy games yet, but there's still one thing about, okay, you didn't get swept. Now, granted, you're not getting a gold medal for not getting swept in the first round by the Denver Nuggets, right? That's not the goal here, but it would be a bad look if the Lakers go on the road and get doused like 120-89. LeBron is like 14 points. So I expect really good efforts out of Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and I do think it's going to be a closer game. It's not going back to LA for a game 6. I actually would love that, because the intrigue of LA pushing that game 6, can they win, get to a game 7 against the reigning NBA champions, that will be fun to watch. But there's a reason why it's a heavy betting public favorite tonight on the Denver Nuggets here at that 7 points. But all keep in mind, it's a heavy betting public opinion here for the Nuggets. And that line was 7.5 last night, Ben, now sitting at 7. So that line going in the opposite direction. If I had to take a pick here in this game, I would take the Lakers getting 7.5, but I certainly don't think that they're going to win this game going away. So instead of taking the 7.5, take the plus money, because I can guarantee you this, and again, we could probably clip this and it'll be wrong tomorrow. I don't think the Lakers, if they're down at the half, are going to win this game. The Lakers need to be up all the way through. And quite frankly, Ben, the Lakers are always up sometime by double digits in this game, and it better be in the first half here.
The Lakers have been up by double digits in all 4 games so far. The Lakers have been up at the halftime break in all 4 games so far. Is not the greatest testament that the Lakers have lost 3 of those 4 games. But if you're looking for the betting value on LA, they're a 4.5-point underdog in the opening half, plus 176 on that first half money line. If you're going to bet the Lake Show, that is your bet based on trend and what we expect to happen tonight, which if that is the case, and we both expect Denver to win this series in 5 games tonight, then the Nuggets live with some maybe plus money, which has been the case throughout this series, is a great betting look as well. I also go under 217. 3 Denver wins. Total went under. 1 Laker victory in game number 4. Total over 219.5. Again, I expect the Nuggets to win this game, and I think they do so, probably even flirting with a cover of that 7-point spread. And I think the total then stays under this over-under of 217.